Hello everyone, welcome to the North and South Saturday line battle courtesy of the Union Army. And you can see here we had a few technical problems, so I had to reboot a machine. So the battle is already underway. Now also a special guest has joined us. We have Jokfil with us, who is here as a co-caster for tonight's battle. Welcome, Jokfil.
Good day. I'm happy to be here. It's my first time casting, so yeah, let's see how this goes.
Indeed we shall. Indeed we shall. Now, let's have a general look at the map. Now, you can see it's quite open. There's obviously plenty of trees as Kavoth takes a bullet to the bonce there, courtesy of Heinrich Hein. Oh God, what a name and a half. And Barangi is also just bled to death as well. So, yeah, it's a very, very flat map, this. Now, we were obviously talking about this earlier. Not really conducive to fun artillery, would you say, Jokfil?
Well, yeah, normal cannons will not do that well on this map. Like, they don't have much vision and not much range because of the trees and the flatness of the map.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do is bring up howitzers. They do great on this map.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, you can arc it over the top, and so stuff like that would definitely be helpful. Get a nice kill on a few people, and they've already started murdering people already, as you can see here. And we've got
seems to be an engagement. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, let's see if we can find the buggers, because they are slippery little sods.
14th is firing, but not too much success.
Yeah, now I'm looking at the 14th New York State Militia at the moment, and you can see them engaging some of the guys, and there looks to be a couple of commanding officers up on the far hill, so that's who they're engaging, and we can see some troops moving around there, but it looks like, yeah, Edward Fowler, there's Diplex himself in command.
They're being flanked from the right there.
This could be yes.
They seem to be moving for it.
Yep, so it looks like the New York State Militia are now moving out, and let's find out who these dirty flankers are. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. As here they are. It's the 5th North Carolina. A nice volley coming in there, as you said. And so it looks like now the New York State Militia are going a little bit aggressive, going up and trying to take out those North Carolinas, Jokfil.
Yeah, they may have made a mistake there. They've got cavalry on their left. They've got infantry on their right. They're going in for a charge. They're spreading out. I don't know if this is very healthy for them.
Well, getting shot in the face is probably not that healthy for you, I have to say. But we got Edward Fowler in there with his Colt. And, yeah, you can see up on the far hill, obviously, that cavalry sniffing around. And the New York State Militia are defending their back. There comes the cavalry as well.
Doing really well, and they've got some support in now. It's a big fight.
Oh, yes. So it looks like we now have the supporting cavalry in for the New York State Militia, as Private Walter Hill goes down and Private Alejandro also goes down as well. There's John Silver working together, and it's the Georgian cavalry, always fine fellows, coming in there and slicing down a few members of the New York State Militia as John Silver gets sliced across the face and falls off the back of his horse. And Private Philip Riley seems to be surviving okay. And let's see who, it's Donald Trump, 2nd Lieutenant of the 16th Alabama. So he's there to try and clear up on the New York State Militia, but the New York State Militia seem to have done a very good job of surviving that attack and are now moving down towards the wooded area to give them a little bit more cover, Jokfil.
Yeah, you can really see like the skill of these guys in resolving that situation this well and remaining with so many people. And now they're retreating to their friends. Seems like they have had enough. There's also an enemy brigade come on now, so a good play from them.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing, obviously, you can see here, was looking at Sergeant W. Griffin. He's trying to make his way back under the fire, dodging left and right. We've got random horses wandering around. We've got the members of the 4th Texan moving up to try and take out what remains of the New York State Militia. And we've got some people wandering around here. Colonel Nicky J. from the 2nd Connecticut. And a bit of horse assassination going on, as is the norm for this game. Now, let's see if we can figure out what's going on, because obviously, that defensive position for the New York State Militia is going to be a difficult one, maybe. Let's see, are they going to try and hold the corner or the edges of that creek? It looks like they're trying to use a little bit of the earth as cover and hold that position and hold the forces back. That's going to be a difficult defense for the New York State Militia, wouldn't you say, Jokfil?
They've got some help from the 1st United States sharpshooters, though. They're coming up to their right. They've been sitting in reserve, it seems, and now they're coming in to have some shooting as well.
But that's going to be a good thing, because obviously they can move up on one flank and provide them with a little bit of extra firepower. And it looks like we've also got some horses out on the far right-hand side, making their way across the wooden bridge by the looks of it. That's the pontoon bridge. And let's see if we can find out who these guys are. So this is the Michigan Cavalry, and they are actually going in a very large looping maneuver around the back. So it could be, we're talking about a possible ambush to help out the New York State Militia, and that will be, I have to say, quite helpful as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, they've got another infantry regiment behind them now. It's the 11th New York. Seems like the general really knows that this is where the fight is going to be, so he's putting in all his troops there. So yeah, let's see how they fare.
Yeah, now you can see the 3rd US crossing the Crook. Thomas Beale working together with the...
It's backstep with the cavalry, look at that.
Oh,
There they are.
Look at that. And that is what you call an absolute textbook ambush. Great play.
Textbook.
That's a great play there by the cavalry, supporting the New York State Militia. Obviously, the New York State Militia had to try and hold that position until the cavalry arrived. So obviously the call came in, the cavalry quite literally came. And now we can see over here on the right-hand side, now that that situation is dealt with, the United States sharpshooters are now moving out under the control of Colonel Brutus, as always, looking very sharp in their green uniforms. And it looks like now the cavalry that did the majority of that ambush has now pulled back. They're moving into a different position. And now we can see, looks like Michigan regulars are taking a little bit of damage from the 8th Florida. So let's see if we can find out where the next part of the battle is underway.
Yeah, that engagement was really, really important. That resulted in the 3-1 advantage for the Union there.
Yeah, it's...
Only 7 compared to 5.
Oh dear. Now I'm just looking what appears to be the artillery section, possibly of the Union. Now you can see. Let's see. No, it looks like here we've got the 68th New York, and they have taken down the artillery position, and they are just finishing off the remainder of. Oh, and a team killer going in there as in Takuzo. Very unfortunate, but always happens in this kind of game. But let's just see if we can find out what's going to happen now. There's not many of them left. There is still another one over here who's currently cheesing it for his life. Recruit Leifer from the 21st Alabama. He's got his rifle ready for the rifle buttage. He's obviously not got himself a bayonet. And it looks like he is the last man standing. So this could be either... Oh, lovely rifle butt into Henning there. That was fantastic rifle butt going on. One of the guys is bleeding as well. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, I've seen these sorts of situations turn around. He can still win this.
Oh,
I've seen someone do it. Nope, it's not today.
Well, a fine moment there by Zararon, and we move on to the next round. And we have returned for the next round. Myself and Jokfil here casting the North and South Union Army line battle on a Saturday evening. Now, let's find out what's going on. We're looking at Charles Furtive from the 21st Alabama. Now, he's obviously moving out with that Johnson's baby bud on his back, so he'll be doing a little bit of loading for the cannons. And whether or not they're going to have standard cannons or the howitzers, we'll have to wait and see. Let's have a look around. The 4th Texan are moving out, and these guys getting themselves ready for the forthcoming battle, as poor recruit Mark has just been kicked off the server. And let's see what's going on, because we're looking over here at the Confederate State Artillery, and it looks like Colonel Laquelle from the 21st Alabama is just getting the guys ready. And, as per usual, Kino from the 21st Alabama is hitching a ride on the artillery, and this makes me laugh every time I see it.
It's a very good tactic. Only too bad he's bringing his engineer instead of one of his loaders.
Yeah, that is fair.
That is a very big advantage if you could get your loaders in quickly, and then you're set as RT. RT is all about the speed. Seems like the loaders are already there, so they're good.
Yeah, I mean, I never actually thought about... Oh, he's got his head stuck in the horse's bum. That's never good. I've never actually thought about it that way, actually. I always used to just find it a very funny thing to see this guy basically catching a lift on the cannons. But now that you say it that way, I can see now why it would be a good idea to have your loader there as quickly as possible. So...
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, you
it's basically like the horse is much quicker than the foot, obviously. So you want to get a team up as quickly as you can as RT, because the first shot is always always an advantage.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, it's a funny gimmick that you find out, and you're like, well, we just use this to try and win.
Yeah, no, I think it's great, and you know, that's what I do love about games like this. You always learn something new every day. So we're looking at Lieutenant Colonel Lancelot, or Evancelot, sorry, from North Carolina. He's following his commanding officer, and it looks like they're moving down to the defensive area of the Crook. And let's just see, we've got the 41st Tennessee, and they are also at this watery edge with Sergeant Chakal looking down to the left and the forward to see if he can find out where the enemy may be coming from. So it seems that this river running through the centre of the map, I mean, we could call it a creek, a crook, it's difficult to say, seems to be a primary point of defence for both these teams, or a primary point of gunfire for both these teams. What do you think about that, Jokfil?
Exactly, rivers are the sort of thing that you're, as a commander, as a general, you can very easily say, go defend that river. And it's very clear. It's really good to give orders, because the river itself, yes, it's got some value to it, but I think it's mainly because it's very clear, and that way, as a commander, you can see the battle in a very clear way. Why don't Mark say that? I was looking at the artillery position for the Confederates. Seems like they set themselves in a way that they can clearly see the enemy artillery. But not much of the right side. So I'm curious on how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I see.
The main role of arty is, of course, killing enemy arty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm just looking at that at the moment, and yeah, this sort of the right side is quite an open area, but they do seem to be sort of focusing down towards the left-hand side of the creek, away from the T-junction of the creek, which is where you would kind of expect the enemy to come from. But I mean, it's still going to be interesting to see how these two teams face off against each other. Now, obviously, you've got a defensive position with sandbags, which is currently with the 41st Tennessee. Cabo Albert's in there, and that's a fine defensive position. But obviously, you don't want too many people up top because it's a little bit unfortunate. Oh, look at that. The United States sharpshooters have got into a stand-up fight already. Let's see if we can find out where they are. Jokfil.
They're in a fight with cavalry, which is really, really bad for them. They're skirmishes, so this is going to be turned out very interestingly. They've glitched themselves into a pile of wood, so that way the cavalry can't charge at them, which I guess is the smartest thing to do. And now there's a friendly cavalry driving them away and creating safety. There you go.
Yeah, that's the thing is obviously, you know, if you come under attack from the cavalry, then, you know, making cover in the woods certainly helps you avoid the cavalry in some significant degree, and also prevents the cavalry from having their advantage, which is their maneuverability and their speed. So it's obviously going to be difficult to see, as poor old Cabo Albert has just been shot in the head by Sergeant Chakal. So obviously problems in the ranks there. Either that or somebody stepped in front of the wrong gun. And Brutus has bled Raoul Duke from the 16th Alabama to death.
Very close action going on here with on the fence with the Marines and the what's this, 8th Florida and 68th New York.
Right, let's see if we can find those guys. We're just looking at North Carolinians and the 14th New York State Militia. The United States sharpshooters are losing a few people. Let's see if we can find out what's going on, because it's still going on. We're looking at Charles de Gaulle, and fine engineering work being done by Kino from the 21st Alabama, building those defences, or artillery Fort Derp, as I always like to call it, because they always build such very strange collections of bits and pieces. So I'm just looking at the Michigan cavalry here in for the Union, the flag being held high by Jacob Kidd. And these guys, obviously, as long as they form the line, they can shoot. They just can't necessarily shoot while on the move. And cannonballs are literally being fired right next to them. So it looks like the cannons have got a sort of general direction of where these cavalry are. Now, if we can find out, here we go. We're at the 11th New York now. Now, obviously, this is a nice fence for them to hide behind it. Oh, correction. Poor old, I think that was Musket Maskin from the 3rd US just got taken down, and we lost one of the 11th New York as well. The advantage of these fences, they're quite tall, they provide a reasonable amount of cover, and it's a good thing for them to hide behind, but obviously not as good as a stone wall under the circumstances, Jokfil.
Yes, exactly. I don't think there's much in terms of cover on this map, so anything you can find is good. Bear in mind, this is not cover for artillery. Cannonballs will just go straight through anything that is spawned in the map. So, yeah, as long as the archer doesn't spot them, they're good, I think.
Yeah, now, we
And
were
they've
just
got
looking at the 41st Tennessee, Private Alexander N, and the lads, Veterano Kavoff, and it looks like they get up by the, I don't know what to call it actually, would we call it the sort of, the observatory, or that sort of little area with the flag and the thing up the top with the tower?
Oh yeah, the watchtower.
Yeah, the watchtower. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. I just couldn't think of it off the top of my head. And so it looks like those guys proceeded to go forward, but then got pushed back by a little bit of brutal gunfire coming in from the enemy and from the likes of the 3rd US. And there's English Dogue, the Brigadier General, and Tabina Thompson. And these guys looks like they're in danger of being flanked on their right. And that could be a difficult situation for them. And as it looks like the Michigan Cavalry is getting involved, just taking down Brigadier Temford, Jokfil.
I'm just looking at the 14th New York State Militia. They've got their bayonets on, and they're in the flank of their enemies. They're ready for a charge, Chadman.
Yeah, it does look that way at the moment. You can see them. The good thing about this particular river is it's literally up to about the knees or the waist, so it's a quite easy river for them to get across. Now, this is going to be a difficult thing for them because they're now charging over open ground, as unfortunately Edward F. Noel, I think, who was that who just went down? No, that was Corporal B. Holborn, who unfortunately proving the point as cannonballs fly over the top. And this is always going to be a problem. A charge through an open field. Very Fredericksburg under the circumstances, but a very, very difficult thing for the New York State Militia to overcome. Obviously, they're trying to spread their forces out, but this is going to be a difficult charge as they're losing people left, right, and centre now, Jokfil.
This is very interesting to me, as I'm an artilleryman myself. And this situation, most people would call for canister shot. Well, I always doubt the necessity of it because it often results in team kills.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a high risk round. So whenever I'm in this situation, I would prefer cannon shot.
Yeah, I mean canister
You just
shot.
know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean cannon shot, all that grape shot and all the rest of it. It's just insane amounts of sort of ball bearings and all the rest of it, and probably the odd sort of plate and fork in there as well. But yeah, under the circumstances, it's a difficult thing. I mean, the thing is, you've not only got to get it, you've got to be patient, you've got to wait for the moment, and then actually get the shot as best you can, take out as many as possible. Now, you can see here, looks like defending. We're looking at Draconeer in with his Colt, trying to defend against the attacks that are coming towards him, and he is being supported by a few team members. As Avancelot gets taken down by the New York State Militia. So there's still some of the New York State Militia remaining, and now it looks like reinforcements moving up from the Eagle Brigade and the 3rd US. So unfortunately, I don't think it will be quick enough as far as the New York State Militia are concerned. They've already lost a significant number of their forces, but they are forcing the Confederate State Army to flee into the crops, Jokfil.
Yeah, what I see in difference in the armies here is the Union is very grouped up. Like they've got 25 men that are still alive in that one engagement, and they're outnumbering the Confederates massively. While the Confederates, they've got troops everywhere. Like there's troops in the Union spawn right now. There's troops at the windmill. They're everywhere. They're spread out.
Yeah. Now, if just looking at the first main, Sapper the Quick One has got his axe out. He's going to impress the girls with the size of his chopper. And Nikita's in there as well from the United States Sharpshooters, and Recruit Herdson, who's also in there. Now, obviously, those swords they're carrying are very small. In fact, the one that Hinkle carries is even smaller, but it's not really a sword, it's a Bowie knife. But you don't really want to get into melee against a 17-inch bayonet with a Bowie knife, but never mind. Let's see if we can find out what's going on, see where the main part of the battle is occurring, because it's difficult to track it down at the moment as we're looking at the main regiment with Major Boucher leading those main regiment fellows, and it looks like they're pushing towards the artillery. Now, oh goodness me, look at this artillery area for the Confederate State Army. It's literally littered with bodies everywhere. The cannon's been taken out of operation, and this is a nasty situation. So
this is exactly why Recruit Herdson brought his ramrod. Now they've got that cannon, and they're in the back of the enemy.
Fantastic. Good stuff indeed. So this is a good thing as far as they're concerned. So there's Herdson, who's going to go in, take over that cannon, and now cause some severe problems for the enemy. And now we're looking at Todd Angel there from the 1st United States Sharpshooters, and also recruit Nikita. Always good to see new recruits on every single regiment in this game. And now we're seeing here Major Scarter from the 4th Texan takes a bullet hit. That means he's going to be bleeding. That's going to be a problem. Darth Arnu and Morags from the 4th Texan moving up. They want to try and stop this cannon from being taken. Jokfil.
It's tough. This they're an infantry regiment charging up to Arctic Guards. They should be able to do it. I believe in them.
Oh dear! Down goes Boucher, and now you can see the remainder of the enemy. Oh, here come the reinforcements, courtesy of the 3rd US. Well. Oh yes, indeed. As now we're looking at Takeo here from the 11th New York, and it's pretty fair to say that the Confederacy, 11 remain alive and 16 remain alive for the Union. So the Union have the advantage at the moment, but we'll just have to wait and see, as it looks like, yeah, a little bit of a firing squad. Yeah. But let's just wait and see what happens, as we've now got 8 Confederacy and 12 Union. Now, this is going back to the thing you were saying about all of the Union remain together, whereas the Confederate State Army is quite spread out. Now, this might be the remaining of the Confederate State Army. It looks like we've got at least 5 here, so there's 2 more out there in the field somewhere, probably hiding behind a tree somewhere. We'll have to wait and see. As now you can see Eaglish Dogue in there as well, as the stabby goodness begins.
They're doing all right.
They're doing pretty good so far. Let's just see. Oh, nice slice coming across. Oh, 2 Union taken down as well. And I have to say, the new sound effects, the death sound effects, are just gruesome. I have to say, absolutely gruesome. But you know,
did go into those.
Yes, it is pretty nasty. So let's just see, as we're watching another slice across the back, and that was First Lieutenant Platt from the Georgian 7th. Now let's see if we can find out what's going on with the remaining members of the Union Army. Now, where are those slippery little sods?
The tables have turned. Now the Confederacy's got twice as many people as the Union.
Indeed, indeed. Now,
due to the skill of the 41st.
Yes, indeed. Now, let's see if we can find out where these lot are. Ah, here we go. It's the Michigan's Ichabod Crane, a fine name from history, and George Crook, Staff Captain, 1st Division. Firing off the pistol. It's the all charge, and they're going in for a little bit of bayonet-y fun. So, let's see. There's Craig Lynn, Sergeant of the New York State Militia, leading the way. And let's see. This is the 3 remaining members of the Union Army, as you said, up against 5 members of the Confederacy. Wonder if they'll be able to do it. What do you think their chances are against this number of Confederates?
One thing, they're outnumbered heavily, but they have really good equipment. If this staff captain can get something done with that sword, it insta-kills. Like, it's so strong, that sword. So yeah, I do expect them to have a chance.
Now, that's interesting to see. Look at that. And it looks like now 2 versus 2. It's a 2-on-2. Oh, the Union have taken it!
Yes, it was that team kill. It's a thing where you run around the enemy and they don't know what they're doing and they stab each other. It's very important thing of melee combat.
Excellent. Well, we're on to a map change, boys and girls. So we shall be doing that map change, and then we'll be right back with the next round. We'll speak to you soon. Well, the sound in the background, of course. It is North and South. We're continuing after this map change. Looking at Old Glory at the Union camp, or no, it may not be the Union camp. It's difficult to tell, obviously, because of the colours of the uniforms tend to vary around this period. And it looks like we've got the guys moving out. Here is the 41st Tennessee. And it's another pretty flat map again, I noticed, Jokfil.
Yes, exactly. I was surprised by that. I thought they would vary it up a bit, but no. It seems like they're going for flat maps. Which brings up a lot of interesting play, I find. Hilly maps often result in camping, while flat maps, people just have to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, mind you, I can't be trusted when it comes to map selection. I remember once when we were playing Napoleonic Wars and I was casting it, the 77Y asked me to recommend settings for the map. So I basically told them snow, cloud and as many hills as possible, and it was literally like fighting in the Alps. And they kept moaning at me for the entire round. It was hysterically funny, but it was worth it. You know, I suppose it's the equivalent of being trolled by the caster, but it was hysterically funny, and that's recorded somewhere. So if I manage to find that, I'll be sure to send it all out on Twitter. Anyway, let's move on and find out how the guys are going. Now, I don't know what your feelings are, but I mean, I think that the introduction of the medic sort of aspect of the game has actually been really, really good. I love the fact that you actually have to have medics available, keep people alive, you know, the bandaging side of things, make sure that they don't bleed to death. Even the commanding officers need to be aware of what's happening, and they can suddenly be bled to death. That actually happened in history. A gentleman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he actually got shot in the leg, and it actually broke the femoral artery in his boot, and they didn't realise until he literally fell off his horse. His boot was full of blood, and he essentially bled out. So, yeah, this is a very important mechanic as far as I'm concerned, Jokfil.
It is. Also, gameplay-wise, it changes a lot of things. Makes moving much more dangerous. Like, if you get hit once, you'll die in a while. So, yeah, it makes people more cautious about things, which is always good for this sort of gameplay. I've got an engagement in the middle here at the White House. Not the White House, but a White House.
That would be quite impressive, I have to say. But yeah, it looks like it's an engagement between the 3rd US and the New York State Militia supporting them. And let's go and have a look on the other side to find out who's on the other side of this white hamlet. A random guy from 2nd Connecticut, and you've also got over here the 4th Texan with Hatham, and these guys are doing their best to just try and trim down the numbers, and it looks like they've actually forced these guys to pull back a little bit. So the New York State Militia are pulling back to what I think they feel is a little bit more of a secure position. Yeah, it looks like they've got 2 layers of defences between them, or sort of you know, hardware and stuff like that, and fences, so that will stop a few more bullets than where they were previously. And interestingly enough, after that engagement, as Darth Arnu is medicked and bandaged up a treat, the air enemy has also moved back as well. So that's interesting to see, that we've seen both the armies come up with a very quick engagement, few kills here and there, and then they have retreated. That's very interesting to see.
Feels like it's almost an accidental engagement. They're like, oh shit, we met them already. We need to like reposition ourselves. Can always be very surprising when suddenly behind that house there's 2 regiments of enemies there. Don't really want to be in that situation.
Understandable, really, under the circumstances. But also, not only that, but I think it might be a case of they want to be in a position where that if they do come under attack, they can be supported by their cavalry. Around that hamlet, that white hamlet over there, not really a lot of options for cavalry supporters. It was very closed in, lots of fences all over the place, and wouldn't really give a lot of opportunity for the cavalry to move with speed and precision. So we're looking at the 4th Texans. They're making their way across the open fields, and Darth Arnold, now recently bandaged and looking healthy, as Major Scarter from the 4th Texan is leading the boys over to the crop fields. And let's see if we can find out what's going on. Oh, look at this. The first
There's a second engagement on the left there. The Union's got artillery to back them up, very close range, which is deadly, very deadly. And they've got an infantry regiment charging there.
Now, I'm just looking at the New York State Militia, who are defending now further back from this hamlet. They're coming under fire from the likes of the North Carolina Regiment, and it looks like they're having a few casualties left, right and centre. This is not looking good for the New York State Militia. They are going to... Let's just see who this is sniffing around at the back here. So Sergeant Griffin moving down the line, keeping the boys focused and formed up. And now that's going to be a difficult thing, because they're also then supported over here at the back by the likes of the 3rd US. And was that who was that? That's John von Walson, 1st Sergeant for the US. And you've obviously got Brigadier General English Dogue and Staff James Kavanagh up there as well. Now, it's interesting to see that now they're starting to pull back, as the fire coming from the hamlet by the North Carolinas is proving to be quite effective. What do you think so far?
This engagement here with the on the right with the 14th, It's a very confusing one to me. Like there's lots and lots of fire going down, but it doesn't seem to be much happening. They're in a big stalemate there, and that's because of the quality of the cover they're in.
Yeah, now,
And that's a very important thing as infantry.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, because obviously, as you well know, these fences, wooden fences, will only take a certain amount of shots before they'll break, and they won't really provide the cover that they did previously. But it looks here like the 8th Florida have taken quite a few casualties over here on the right side as we're looking at Recruit Chewbacca, looking very hairy, as indeed we should. And they are trying to engage the New York State Militia and the 3rd US and are suffering pretty heavy casualties as a result. The 11th Texan, there's Private Statter, and we've now also got Frederikus in there as well. And they're just trying to put more fire down onto the US and the New York State Militia. So those guys, I have to say, even though there's a lot of shooting going on, they may not be getting a lot of kills, but they're essentially stopping the enemy from pushing too far forward towards them and actually maybe getting round behind the back of them. Now, I'm interested to see if we're going to get any regiments who are going to try and sneak round the side. That would be the kind of thing you would expect to see, wouldn't you, Jokfil?
Yes, exactly. There was an engagement on the left side, and there's still something going on at the cannons for the Union. It's almost resolved, though, and that means that they can move regiments from the left to other things are happening, like on the right, which will be annoying for the Confederates, I'm sure.
Oh, look at this. Have a look at the position of the 1st Maine. They are in a stone building with a balcony, obviously, and they have essentially blocked off the entrance with their engineer so that the enemy can't get in. There's Ichabod Crane outside from Michigan, and they put down loads of fences and barricades and all kinds of stuff, and they have essentially blocked themselves in to that house. They've even got a cannon sticking out the side. Go figure. Don't even know how they fitted that in there. But these guys are literally in a very defensive mode, and the quick one is doing the engineering work. And this is going to be a very, very difficult thing for the enemy to deal with, because it's a stone building, it's going to be difficult to take down, and it's going to cause them problems. And these guys are literally defending this building to the hilt.
Know what the answer is to this?
Blow it up.
Artillery. Lots of artillery.
Yeah, just literally knock more holes in it than Swiss cheese. And this is going to be giving the 4th Texan a problem. Those are the guys who are trying to engage this particular house. And you've got guys shooting down through the balcony. That's probably Ippen as well. Yes, of course, recognise that hair. So Ippen is on the balcony and looking at these guys below, trying to fire down at them. And literally, no sooner do you say artillery, and the cannonball comes charging through and just misses the edge of the building. So it hasn't knocked the building down or put any holes in it yet, but exactly what you said was going to happen has happened. They focused the artillery onto that building, and that's going to be a very nasty situation for them as Captain Krasak from the United States Sharpshooters moves in, and it looks like he's going to be trying to take out some of the guys who are attacking that building of the 1st Maine. So a little bit of reinforcements coming in, and oh, down goes Pyrutaku as well. So it looks like that building is going to be held by the Union forces, and I think they've done a good job, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I'm slightly afraid of what's going to happen, because I think the RT is still focused on that house, and now it's covered with their friendlies. So, interesting at least. And to be honest, the sharpshooter's going to need that help. Look at Captain Krasak trying to jump onto that balcony.
Yeah. And these guys obviously... Oh, definitely, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And you can see them now, the 3rd US... the United States Sharpshooters now moving in force. Here is Captain... Yeah, okay, I can't even pronounce that name. I'm not even going to try. God damn you, sir.
That's the assault. They're in.
Yes. So, the United States Sharpshooters are now supporting, which is going to make that house even harder to deal with. Because they don't mess around, the United States Sharpshooters. And the Confederacy have 30 people remaining, and the Union have 35. So it's still all to play for. Now, we're with the North Carolinas, making their way through the wooded area. And we can see here Private George, and a little bit of drumming from Recruit Leifer Fantastic to see. And Soldat LS from the 21st Alabama. Now, it looks like they're by the artillery section, as the artillery is being dealt with by Charles Furtive. And it's interesting to see what these guys are doing, because they seem to be returning back to the location of the artillery as far as the Confederacy is concerned, Jokfil.
Yes, the artillery is always like the position to retreat to, as it is a well-known spot for everyone, so everyone knows where they're going. And it's mostly got defenses on it. That's why the engineer is there. But seems like it's not to any help. The Union is just with so many people here. It doesn't look promising for the Confederates here.
It does not. Oh, as John von Walsum gets sliced across the back as the cavalry comes charging in. Fantastic timing there by Staff Lieutenant Hugo and the Iverson Brigade. And you've also got Lieutenant Platt from Georgia moving in. And you can see now that what we thought there for a second was going to be a bad moment for the Confederate States of America Army now could actually be turned in the favour of the CSA. Now they can push back against those attacking Unions, and they are forcing them to flee across the open field. Getting involved with melee, Major Dominic from the 11th New York goes down. Staff Lieutenant Mercury also murdered horribly. And this could be a turnaround as far as these guys are concerned, Jokfil.
It is, yes. The timing of that older regiment with the 2nd CT in there and the 21st Alabama seems like it's helping out, and they're resolving this situation as well as they can, actually.
Now, look at that. Look at the difference in numbers. The Union have 19, the Confederacy have 8. So a 2-to-1 advantage as far as the Union are concerned. And let's see what's going on as Lieutenant Platt. They're trying to defend themselves from this attack. I wonder if the Union are going to try and force maybe a couple of team kills just to try and help take those numbers down. We've got a member of the New York State Militia, Private Jack Gallagher, and also another member of the New York State Militia, unfortunately murdered horribly. And so there we go. The New York State Militia is literally on too many people. Manages... Oh, we thought he was going to get a kill there for a second. He did manage to kill one of his attackers. And another kill there, but finally murdered.
Team kills.
And forced the team kill. Look at that.
It's dangerous, man. Immediately like that.
Not only that, but one thing I noticed is, that not only can that melee, even if you don't kill the person, you can still make them bleed, and that could be a problem later. So let's see who this... Oh, yes. Oh, down goes James Hamilton, recruit of the New York State Militia. And now we're looking at 5 versus 12 members of the Union Army. Now, let's see. Flying over the crops. Coming through the crops are the Confederate State Army, along with a little bit of musical accompaniment, which is always nice to hear. And here is Frederickus. Now, oh God, it's Ippen. Ippen's charging, everyone. He interrupted me for the last cast. Yes, all right, stop doing that, Ippen. Thank you. So, oh, for God's sake. God damn that, Ippen. So, looks like we've got Paboinganator here from the United States Sharpshooters. Low, Boucher as well. And Captain Schnillerth. As I assassinate other people's... I know, as I assassinate people, it's great. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a punch-up going on at the back of here with the United States Sharpshooters. So, always entertaining to watch. So, let's see what's going on. As we can wait and see. Oh, fun round. That could be interesting. As one thing that always happens to me at fun round, every time I go musician, I always end up getting killed. Don't know what it is. It's like...
Yes, there is no mercy for the musicians.
I know, and it makes me sad panda, because I love the musicians in Napoleonic Wars, and I love the musicians in North and South, and we never get any love. It's so sad. But never mind. So it looks like the quick one is out. Oh, ouch. Sorry, you saying?
I'm not in that camp. I will kill any musician I will see.
Oh, you heartless bastard. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Anyway, the melee is here continuing between the members of the Confederate State Army, and Ippen goes down. No more charging for Ippen. And you can see here the melee going on. And look, even the drummer's getting involved as well, Leifa. And let's see how that numbers. 4 and 3. So this could be an opportunity. Can the Union get it? It is the United States sharpshooters. And this could be interesting to see. Like you're saying, they're skirmishers. They're going to be, obviously, they're doing the sharpshooting, maybe not so used to melee, but no less effective. We'll have to wait and see. As it looks like, is it a 2-on-2? It is. It's a 2-on-2 situation with an officer. Oh, down goes one of the, no, as you say, sharpshooters. Oh, again, the final moment.
They're all very close, all been decided in the last engagement. It's very interesting.
Very, very good indeed. Right, let's move on to the fun round, boys and girls. It's time for more fun. We'll be right back. Right, so we have returned. It is the fun round. And everyone's in as, well, almost everyone in. There's a few people in as horses. And let's just see what's going on as these guys are getting set up on either side of the fence. I sometimes think they're going to have like a big fight in the cornfield. This could be what we're talking about, in which case it's going to be entertaining but very, very messy, Jokfil.
Are they going to do the sort of thing we saw a couple of weeks back with the Dixieland Army, like the big line event?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know what they're planning. They're up to something. They're always up to something. So yes. Now you can see here, Thomas Angel down here, getting his feet wet in the water. Don't know what these guys are up to.
That's good for getting trench foot.
Yeah, exactly, because that's just what you want when you've been marching for days as a case of trench foot. Yeah, that's definitely it. Right, so there's Owen Coleman. Right, there we go. Looks like we're getting ready for both teams to present across the field. You can't necessarily see your target. You're just going to shoot like mad. And a bit of horn work at the back. Chinchilla with fine horn work. Loving his horn work. And now he's walking into the centre of the field with his horn. And now the charge through the cornfield, or maize field, or we'll call it a crop field. There we go. Yes. Chinchilla doing his thing.
Is deadly. You don't know where you're going. It's a cornfield. Nobody knows what they're doing. It's going to be funny as hell.
Yeah. And not only that, I mean, obviously if you've read any stuff from history, some of the battles that occurred around cornfields, literally the crops ended up being some of the most bountiful in recent years in the actual history, yes, because of the sheer amount of blood that had been spilt and actually seeped into the ground. And yeah, it's kind of grim when you think about it, but you know, that's life for you. Oh goodness, what's going on?
Yeah, it's very fertile.
What's going on with the 21st Alabama? What are these guys doing? They're literally just walking together as a big pair or big set, and well, they're not anymore. They all just got horribly murdered. So we got Tenford in there on a horse. Might have known. The Spanish sausage is up to no good. He is. And a nice slice across the back of his head from one of the enemy. And another slice coming in from Tenford. That fine beard on our friend here. And he's taken a bit of a stab. Oh, they're after him. The New York State Militia are after him. He's running around as he barges a man to the floor. Thomas Beale from the 3rd US. And let's just wait and see what happens as the murdering continues. He's running down more members, seeing if he can actually get in there. I have a feeling that literally, as soon as Tenford gets dehorsed, he is going to get diddled with a bayonet in the worst way imaginable, Jokfil.
Yes, indeed.
Oh,
and the screams in this update. Oh, yeah.
Down goes Tenford, stabbed by an engineer. Oh, the shame, the opprobrium. Not even killed by a lineman, he was actually killed by an engineer. That's just horrific. But anyway, now you can see the Union winning the round. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That has been the North and South Union line battle for this evening. My thanks, obviously, to all the regiments, to the admins for working on the event, and, of course, to Jokfil for co-casting with me. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for letting me come. It was an absolute pleasure. It was really fun to do. Thank you.
No problem. Right, boys and girls, thank you for listening, and we'll see you again soon.